Okay, so in today's video I've got week 16 of my 365 days of art challenge. So if you want to see what I do this week, then keep on watching. Okay, so this week, to be honest, I started with, well, I didn't start with, I just did a bunch of smaller ones or like shorter ones that wouldn't take ages. So the first one that I started with here was one that was basically like using oil pastels. Another like mark making one, just to kind of explore the medium of oil pastel, I guess. But I just kind of did what I usually do and went off with the colours that they put in like the example. Yeah, just basically made some marks and some squiggles. Oil pastels aren't really that different to using pencils or anything like that. They're just a lot messier. They blend really well together, so that's another like bonus of them. I suppose when you use them correctly, because sometimes they don't blend that well, but it definitely depends on the colours that you're using and the way that you actually use them. But as you can see, it's so messy, and you can see on those circles there, like once I've blended them, they like smudged everywhere basically. So what I did to stop them from transferring onto the other page is I just hairsprayed it. So you probably would have seen when I hairsprayed it there that it went really like the hairspray went wet on the page, and it kind of like dilutes the colour a little bit. And in this second one that I did, I'm using the white pastels again to create marks on these like black spots, and it did the same thing when I hairsprayed this one. It kind of like dilutes it a little bit, which I think this one it actually did a lot more, but once it's dried, all the colour comes back and you can see it, and then it stops it from transferring. I do this with all of my like pencil drawings as well. So not that I've uploaded any of them yet, but I've done 3 drawings for my dad, and I've also done a drawing of Liam Gallagher for my boyfriend, which I didn't actually film that one, but it is on my Instagram. I think it's L spelt with 3 L, so ELL .web.art if you want to go have a look. It's also in the description below, if that helps. But yeah, there are, you know, you can go over there and have a look, but I hairspray all of those as well, because if not, sometimes you get like a weird cast on the frames where it's like rubbed off and it's just a little bit weird. But yeah, that's my top tip of the day. You just hairspray all of your drawings, and it stops them from transferring, especially in a book like this. It definitely helps when you have a medium like oil pastels or just like normal pastels, because they definitely like to transfer. Same with like charcoal or anything like that. I hairspray all of it because it doesn't affect it at all. Once it's dried, it returns completely to like back to normal. You can't see like the hairspray on it, you can't see anything. So I do it for everything, and it's never failed me so far. But yeah, the third one that you would have just seen, it was basically something along the lines of like, write down a time that someone said something positive about your artwork or something, and it just reminded me of a time really recently where so my brother's in a band, and one of the band members, we was talking about something, I can't remember what, but we was talking about something, and he just looked at me and he was like, oh yeah, you're like really good at drawing, aren't you? And it just made me laugh, because obviously he's seen like my Instagram before, so yeah, it just made me laugh. So that was what I wrote down for the third one. And this next one that I did was basically had to like create the waves and like the sea against the rocks. So I think it says about creating like a stormy like ocean, waves, whatever. But if it didn't say that, that's what I did. So if it didn't say that, then my bad. But anyway, that is what I chose to do. So I just put down block watercolor to begin with. Some bits, as you can see, were like darker than others, but I just put down some like block watercolor, and then I went in with a darker blue to create like the actual like crashing waves like up against the rocks. yeah, it doesn't look perfect. It's been a while since I've seen a stormy sea, and I didn't really want to Google it. I just kind of wanted to do it from like what my memory like tells me it looks like and what I think it should look like. So I didn't really want to like Google it or anything. I just kind of wanted to go for it and just see what happened. But my intention was always to like add some white highlights afterwards to like pull forward certain bits, and make it look a little bit, you know, a little bit more like 3D, not 3D. I don't know what I'm trying to say. Well, I do know what I'm trying to say, I just don't know how to say it. But yeah, I put some white highlights in afterwards just to make it look a little bit more like, I guess, depth in it, make it look a little bit more realistic, even though it's not supposed to look realistic. Like the rocks themselves don't look realistic, but I wanted just to add a little bit more to it rather than just like a page of like blue. So as you can see here, I just added some white highlights, which definitely helped create the illusion of like crashing waves, because obviously when waves like crash against rocks, you get like the like foamy water, like, you know what I mean. I don't think I know what I mean, but hopefully you do. So yeah, this definitely isn't my favorite, but I'm not mad at it either. So that was that one. So the next one that I did was another basically mark making one. It was like just filling the page with things that are green, but on most of these anyway, I just like do the little mark making on the edge and kind of in the middle, and then just do like a few little bits in the middle as well. So as you can see, I started painting like a little leaf there, and yeah, just using different shades of green just to create marks around the page. I'm kind of hoping that I'm running out of these ones in the book at this point, because I really don't like doing them. I just can't think of like anything to put in them, like, because there are so many things that just can be green but like aren't naturally green, I guess. And then like the only thing that I felt that I could put in here was like plants and stuff. So like, as you just seen, I did like a little 4-leaf clover, but other than like leaves and I guess plants, but that's just basically the leaves of the plants, I felt like there was nothing I could really put in there. Like if you watched my other video, I think it was last week, I want to say, where I did the pink page. Was it pink or was it orange? It might have been orange. I really don't remember, as you can probably tell. But the orange or pink page, whichever it was, I did like a balloon and a kite on. But then like when I thought about it afterwards, like those things can just be any colour. So it was actually quite difficult to actually like decide what to put in here, because I guess you could just put anything in there and just colour it green, but I feel like anything that's like naturally green would make more sense to go in there. But then I just felt like I couldn't really think of anything else that was naturally green other than just a bunch of leaves. And obviously, as you can see here, I did like 3 different shaped leaves and then like a 4-leaf clover as well. I felt like that was kind of good enough, and then just did the rest with like mark making, different mediums. I used some of the zebra fine liners. I used those to add details to the leaves as well, and I added some like extra leaves with the pen just there. I don't really know what you'd call that. Yeah, I don't really know, but I just added some details with these, and then just some extra like marks as well as adding in like the watercolor marks as well. That there was supposed to be like a tiny little Christmas tree. It doesn't look like that, it just looks like a green pyramid. But anyway, that's what I did for that one. But yeah, like I say, I'm hoping that I don't have too many more of these. I feel like I've seen maybe 1 or 2. I think there's like a pink one, if that's not the one that I've already done, and maybe 1 more. They're quick and easy to do. I just find them really annoying for some reason. This next one that I did was another really quick and simple one. As you can probably tell, I didn't really have too much time this week to actually sit and do really detailed ones. So I just did a bunch of really quick ones. But this one I basically just drew, I had to like draw colouring pencils. So I just followed on from the design that was already there. A lot of them are like different lengths, but then I was like, some of them you use more than others anyway, so you always end up with pencils that are like odd lengths and different from each other. So I just followed on from that and then used my actual colouring pencils to colour them and give them like colour. But once I'd done this, I lost like kind of all of the outlines afterwards. So once I'd done that, I decided to go around them with a fine liner and just add the details back in. I do that with quite a lot of the art that I do in this book, and I just feel like it finishes it off so nicely. It makes it look more finished rather than just like a really rough, boring sketch. And like I said with this, as you can probably see, a lot of the details have been lost. Not that these are like majorly detailed anyway, but they were like lost, like the pencil marks that I did like down the middle of the pencil. On some of them they were a little bit hidden after I'd like coloured them, particularly the red one with it being like a darker colour. I lost it quite a lot in that one, so I was just kind of sitting there to begin with trying to figure out what to do, but I did decide to just outline them with a fine liner, also because my sketches were like proper sketches, so they weren't like proper like joined up lines or anything. I just wanted to add like a continuous line and kind of just like finish it off like that, so you can still see like the rough sketch underneath, but then you have like the fine liner over the top, and I just really liked how that looked. So yeah, that's what I did for this one. Really simple, but I think quite effective. I mean, you can disagree with me or agree with me, that's up to you really. Art's subjective. And to be fair, I wouldn't really call this art. It's kind of just like some sticks with a point on the end, and that's pretty much it. But I think the page looks quite cool overall, and like I said, it was a really quick and easy one. I definitely could have put like more in, like fit more in the gaps and stuff like that, but just from the gaps that was left between the two that were already drawn there, I just kind of wanted to continue on with that sort of gap. And I definitely could have done these a little bit neater so that they were all like completely uniform with each other, but I didn't really want to do that. I just wanted to kind of chuck it on and kind of just see what happened. So yeah, that was that one. And then I believe this one is the last one. This one just said fill this page with your favourite colour, and again I was just like, oh, I don't know many things that are orange. If you couldn't tell, my favourite colour is orange, but I couldn't think of too many actual things that are orange, so I decided to just use some watercolour and paint it orange basically. And then the last thing I did was the same thing that I always do, and I just marked off what ones I had done on the tracker. So yeah, it's definitely filling up now. So that was week 16 of my 365 days of art challenge. Let me know what you thought down below. Let me know if you have any ideas for future videos as well, future ideas or just regular videos. But yeah, other than that, make sure to like, comment and subscribe, and I will see you next time. Bye.